I got royal biographer Angela Levin in the studio. We're always delighted to have her because we're going to talk about David Beckham and a reinvention, Angela, of David Beckham within the royal family. Now, there was a few years ago, he was on track to get a knighthood and whatever. It didn't happen. He expressed his disdain at this. This all went public and he was very much ostracised from the royal family. Now, King Charles loves him.
Once upon a time, David Beckham was a shoo-in for the honour, football royalty turned philanthropist. But as we see here, past allegations of tax avoidance muddied the waters. Even though he was later cleared, the damage was done. And in Britain, reputations take time to mend. But here's the intrigue: King Charles now embraces Beckham once more. Why? Could it be that Beckham, ever the master of reinvention, has realigned himself with the values the crown upholds? His charity work is commendable, certainly, but let's not ignore another possibility. His public image is one of resilience and hard work, qualities Charles wants to champion in his reign. And let's not forget, Beckham has always played the long game. Is he positioning himself for another shot at that knighthood? Now, this is where things get interesting. Picture it, two powerful couples, both transatlantic icons, aligning their social spheres. It makes perfect sense, the Beckhams and the Sussexes, a modern royal alliance of sorts. Victoria Beckham, a style maven in her own right, extends a helping hand to Meghan. There's a deep tradition here, women of influence guiding newcomers into the intricate world of elite British society. It mirrors Princess Diana's early mentorship under Princess Grace of Monaco. But friendships at this level of power are never just friendships.
Loves them.
Yes, they've got lots in common now. They both love having bees and making their own honey. And David's moved very closely to Highgrove, where the king lives, so they're very easy to talk about. But also, he's been looking for somebody who would help running his charity, the king's charity. And he's a working man who actually has come up from the bottom and actually done it all himself.
Yes. Now, the King's Charity now, so it used to be the Prince's Trust, but that's now William now looks after that, does he? Or it's been renamed?
No, it's just been renamed to King.
Okay,
yeah, that's
right.
all. And actually it's wonderful because the King invited me up to Scotland to see where it happens. And at this amazing house, it's got A to Z of what you would like to do, whether it's painting, whether it's cooking, and all the people who would have, a lot of them have been sleeping on the street, not been able to get a job, go there and actually try and make something of themselves. Not just that, but he then employs them for 6-9 months, because he said if you just do a course, you don't want anything. So Beckham would be marvellous at helping these people.
There are expectations, unspoken codes of conduct. And when those are breached, well, things unravel fast. And now, we arrive at the heart of the mystery. It got nasty, Angela Levin says. But what does that mean, precisely? Well, if we cast our gaze beyond this interview, reports have long swirled that Harry and Meghan suspected the Beckhams of leaking information to the press. That's a serious accusation. In elite circles, discretion is currency, and a breach of trust, or real or imagined, is almost impossible to repair. But let's consider another angle. Harry and Meghan, since their departure from royal duties, have been deeply wary of the press, often attributing leaks to those closest to them. Could this be less about what the Beckhams did, and more about the Sussexes' growing paranoia? The Beckhams, after all, have been media darlings for decades. They know how to handle press scrutiny. If anyone could sympathize with Harry and Meghan's struggles, wouldn't it be them? Or was there a different power shift at play? Let's roll the final clip. So, where does this leave us? The Beckhams, it seems, have quietly pivoted back toward the established monarchy, forging ties with King Charles and Prince William. It's a pragmatic move. Aligning with the future of the monarchy ensures their place within Britain's upper echelons. Harry and Meghan, meanwhile, continue to chart their own course, one that often sees them at odds with traditional royal allies.
doing all that.
Lots of speculation about whether a knighthood is in the offing then. I mean, I think I was just Googling why it's taken so long, and there was some question about tax avoidance back in 2013, which he was later exonerated for. And he was recommended a number of years ago for a knighthood. It hasn't happened yet. Do you think the mood music is changing
Oh, yes.
slightly?
I mean, he now dresses in country clothes.
Yes.
You know, the brown and very smart. And that's good. And Victoria's there too. Let me tell you one thing about Victoria. Prince Harry met her just after his mother died, when his father had to go to South Africa. And they were the Spice Girls. And he met her. And there's pictures of him holding her hand, right? And he said to me, when I was interviewing him, that it was the best day of his life.
Oh.
And so they invited them to Highgrove, and he said to me, that was the second best day of my life. So that there was a lot of friendship between Victoria and the boys, because obviously liking football and all that. And but then they helped when they moved into Kensington Palace. Victoria helped them with makeup, well, certainly Meghan, and clothes and all those things. And then it got nasty. That's what happened.
In doing so, they've created a vacuum in their social world. The Beckhams once filled part of that space, and now, they do not. But here's the final thought I want to leave you with. History tells us that royal alliances shift like tides. The people who fall out today may reconcile tomorrow, especially if public opinion demands it. Could there be a future where these two power couples mend fences? Stranger things have happened in royal history. And now, I will turn it over to you. What do you think truly happened behind closed doors? Was this a simple misunderstanding, or something deeper? Let's take a step back and ask a broader question. What does this fallout between the Sussexes and the Beckhams tell us about the nature of modern celebrity friendships, especially when royalty is involved? There's a fascinating pattern at play here. Royals have always found themselves drawn to high-profile entertainers. Think of Princess Diana and Elton John, Prince Andrew and Jeffrey Epstein, a cautionary tale, if ever there was one, or even Queen Victoria's notorious admiration for certain stage performers. Why? Well, the answer is twofold. First, there's the allure of those who have mastered public adoration in a way that even royals struggle to. A-list celebrities navigate fame differently. They are self-made, unbound by the rigid constraints of monarchy. Royals, despite their privilege, are often prisoners of their own institutions.
Yes, he was going to go to Invictus Games. He was asked by Harry if he would go, and he did. But Harry wouldn't talk to him at all. He flew all the way to Sydney, but nothing happened. But then it was leaked that he and his wife were leaking all the material, saying nasty things about them, and they got very upset.
Sussexes,
this is the Sussexes, yes. Right. And that's what made him absolutely furious. They were invited to the wedding, but not to the dinner. And as there were not very many friends there, he thought that was a terrible slight. And so that's why they backed off and stopped being friendly with them.
Talking about the reinvention of David Beckham, I was just reading in the Mail, what's his name, Ephraim Hardcastle, he's claiming that actually it was Prince Andrew that Bex was all pally with, and that actually Prince Andrew had organised a birthday party for 6-year-old Harper Beckham in Buckingham Palace, but since the friendships got all frosty and David has turned his attention to the King.
Yeah, that was, yes, Fergie did all that without actually asking for permission. So the royal family were absolutely furious about that. So, but I think it was really that they just felt they're now not getting on very well because of being told that they're doing things which they're not doing. And so it was very difficult. And they didn't invite him to Brooklyn and Nichols.
The idea of forging friendships with those who have more freedom, more control over their own destiny, is undoubtedly appealing. But then, there's the darker side, the issue of trust. Royals, especially Harry and Meghan, are acutely aware of the transactional nature of relationships in their world. Who can be trusted? Who is loyal for loyalty's sake, and who sees proximity to royalty as a stepping stone to something greater? And this brings us back to the alleged falling out with the Beckhams. If reports are to be believed, the rift started because Harry and Meghan feared private conversations were making their way to the press. But let's put this into context. Was this an isolated incident? Or part of a broader pattern where the Sussexes, feeling besieged by the media, began to suspect even their closest friends? And more importantly, if the Beckhams were indeed leaking information, what did they stand to gain? There's little concrete evidence that David or Victoria ever leaked anything damaging. But consider this, the Beckhams, despite their fame, still rely on media goodwill. Carefully placed tidbits, harmless on the surface, can strengthen their relationships with certain news outlets. Could something as simple as an offhand remark to the wrong person have snowballed into a full-blown breakdown in trust? Alternatively, if Harry and Meghan misjudged the situation, this wouldn't be the first time they've seemingly distanced themselves from once close allies due to press paranoia. Think back to Meghan's own family, her estranged father and half-siblings. Think about the cooling of relations with the Obamas, once thought to be their strongest US allies. The Sussexes' social circle has shrunk dramatically over the years. Are they victims of betrayal? Or are they too quick to assume it?
Wedding either. So that's all
But
over.
now we've got a reinvention of relations between David Beckham and the King and royalty, and obviously that would include Victoria as well.
Yes. Yes, it will. But the thing about him is that he's very determined and he's always done a job absolutely to the best he can. So he's somebody who's worthwhile having, among the people. There will be other people who are helping running the charity, but he's the first. So it's
You're all for it?
I think I am, really, because he does work hard and he's had a lot of nasty things said about him early on when he missed a goal and everybody booed him and all that sort of thing. And he's overcome that. And I think when you see people who do that and don't bear a grudge forever, I think it's very, very important.
I would say this about David. He is genuinely a nice person. Whatever people may see as his flaws or his successes or whatever it is, he is a nice person to deal with, and that goes a long way.
He's also a good father, isn't he? He loves his children, and particularly his daughter, very keen on her, and he's there and he'll cook for them and he looks after them. So he's got a lot going for him, and I think that's just really what the King needs. And also someone who's funny. He's very funny and cracks jokes, and so he can cheer the King up, really.
And he's handsome. Come on, you've missed out the most.
Not now.
Just looking at these pictures, and they're such a glamorous pair, aren't they?
I don't think now very much, but I think he is. Sorry, all this sort of stuff all over his arms and everything.
Oh, Angela.
All right.
Well, on that note, we'll.
It's an age-old dilemma. Trust is a delicate thing, especially for those in the limelight. Once broken, or even suspected to be broken, it is near impossible to rebuild. And in this case, it seems the Beckhams and the Sussexes have chosen their respective paths. David and Victoria continue to strengthen their ties with the monarchy, aligning themselves with the House of Windsor. Harry and Meghan? They remain, for now, an island unto themselves. The real question is, will their paths ever cross again? And if they do, who will extend the olive branch first? If history has taught us anything, it's that royal feuds come and go, but strategic friendships are rarely lost forever. If the Beckhams and Sussexes have truly parted ways, the decision may not be permanent, it may simply be on pause. After all, in the world of royalty and celebrity, no bridge is ever fully burned. Only time will tell if this was a genuine fracture, or just another chapter in the grand, ongoing saga of the House of Windsor. We close the book, at least for now, on this chapter of the ever-unfolding saga between the Sussexes and the Beckhams. But if history has shown us anything, it's that these relationships are rarely static. Today's allies become tomorrow's adversaries, and those who stand apart may, in time, find reason to reconcile. After all, in a world where image is currency and influence is everything, the game never truly ends, only the players change their positions. The Beckhams have chosen to embrace the established monarchy, while the Sussexes continue their pursuit of a different kind of legacy. The question is, will their paths remain divided, or is this just another twist in a long and complicated story? And with that, I leave you with one final thought: history is watching. And so are we. Drop your comment below. See you in the next video.